Wajahat S. Khan is the founder and CEO of the Ivy Future of Pakistan conference, and he joins us live now from New York City. Thank you so much for speaking to us. Now, we've been talking to Pakistan's ambassador to the United Nations in New York City. He told us it's up to India now to de-escalate. Would you agree with that statement?
I would say so, but I also want to get really deep inside the difference between this conflict and previous ones. In the 40s, in the 60s, in the 70s, last century's conflict, even in the 90s, were about territory, were about Kashmir. In this century, we've seen a new precedent set, especially by the Indian Hindu nationalist right-wing government, which is that territory is not at stake. It's terrorism, which has become the reason for Pakistan and India to go to, well, close to war with each other. So firstly, the reasons are very different this time around. And this has started happening since the BJP, the current incumbent party in India, has taken power around 12 years ago. That's difference number one. Difference number two are platforms. We've seen these two countries fight with tanks, fight with aircraft, fight naval battles. But just in the last 72 hours, we've seen something we've never seen before. Informational warfare, cyber attacks, and very importantly, drones. India's use of drones and information warfare and cyber attacks by Pakistan has really next generation for me, this new conflict. It's really interesting that the Pakistanis have kept a lid on it so far. They haven't responded, but just a few minutes ago, as you saw, as you must have, I know I was watching your channel for it as well. The American vice president has echoed the views of the U.S. president and said that this is none of our business. Basically, both countries have, through the years, been used to, by this point of any conflict, both countries are used to some sort of international power coming in and saying, all right, guys, please stop. Declare victory and let's start talking. That hasn't happened this time, which goes on to underscore that without any honest brokers, this may escalate. Now, escalation in a country like Pakistan, in a country like India, looks very different versus two other countries, except India is acting a lot like a country we know a lot about. India is acting, for example, like Israel, treating Pakistan like a lesser state, like Lebanon or a Syria, punishing it for alleged terrorism links. But guess what? Pakistan is not Syria. Pakistan is not Lebanon. And India is definitely not Israel. Israel has the unkempt backing, the unbridled backing of the great United States. India doesn't have that. In fact, the U.S. just walked away from the crime scene a few minutes ago. So where this goes, possibly to the diplomatic channels, the Saudis have made an entrance. They've made a last-minute surprise cameo appearance in New Delhi. Word is that they're hitting Pakistan soon as well. Maybe they've already landed. But unlike all the other conflicts in the 40s, in the 60s, in the 70s, and the 90s, this one doesn't have any honest brokers, and this one has next-generation drones. And that's something which, as a conflict watcher, is both disturbing but also fascinating.
There's so much to unpack here, and I wish we did have more time, but I want to quickly look at something that you mentioned early on, and you said the reasons for this are very different. It was about territory, now it's about terrorism. But where then does this leave the people of Kashmir? And that's just on every aspect of Kashmir, the areas controlled by Pakistan, by India, and by China, because in the end, it always seems to be the civilians and the people of Kashmir who still continue to suffer the most.
Brilliant question. The most important question, much like the conflict in Palestine, Kashmir dates back to the 1940s. There's multiple UN resolutions about the Kashmiris trying to having the right of self-determination. India has taken that right away now, formally from them. China is involved in this process as well. We usually yawn and let our eyes roll when we talk about Kashmir, saying, oh, the Indians and Pakistanis are at it again. But your question very rightly put China as a stakeholder as well. Don't forget that at the north of this entire region is Ladakh, and the Chinese own, or rather claim to own, a bunch of territory disputed with India. So if push comes to shove, if this really goes ballistic, then the Chinese have a stake in this as well. For years, the Indians have been fearing that this might be not a one-front conflict with Pakistan, but a two-front conflict with China. But to your point, the people of Kashmir today remain on both sides, suffer from underdevelopment, from over-militarization, and of course, as we've seen, actual fatalities. They've been the ground zero for fatalities, but now at this point, Kashmir is and remains one of the world's most likely nuclear flashpoints. That's not a good address to have, but it is what it is. And it is the forgotten conflict. And I hope that this time around, considering the stakeholders and the stakes, things change.
Here's hoping that that will really be the case and things do change and de-escalation does happen. Thank you very much. We're going to have to leave it there. Wajahat S.